Good morning, everybody. Everyone has a story, and every story carries a unique point of view. They say we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. And that's exactly what this space is about. Hello, everyone. I'm Suhani, your host, and I welcome you to Perspective, a podcast by ISTE-VIT. The Indian Society for Technical Education is a student-run, non-profit chapter committed to cultivating a strong technical community through impactful events, workshops, and initiatives. Perspective is one such initiative where we aim to bridge the gap between experience and aspiration through candid conversations. This isn't just a podcast, it's a lens into real stories, unfiltered journeys, and the many angles people bring to the same questions we all face. I'm genuinely excited about today's episode. Our guest has spent nearly 3 decades shaping the way businesses use technology, from leading large-scale digital transformations at Cognizant to driving AI-led solutions at Lumeek, and now as co-founder of Neoware Technology Solutions, helping enterprises turn raw data into real intelligence. But beyond all these achievements, the leadership roles, the innovations, the global impact, what truly stands out is his clarity of thought and his commitment to people. Today's conversation isn't just about technology. It's about entrepreneurship, customer success, and building with purpose. It's about the lessons learned from decades in the industry and how those lessons can inspire young minds starting their journey today. So without keeping you waiting any longer, please welcome Mr. Swaminath Venkataraman, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we are honored to have you here.
Thank you, Swan.
So what's most interesting is that you didn't just work at one place. Could you elaborate on that, sir?
Post-graduation, I graduated in 96. I think that was the time that IT was starting to peak. I think it peaked around 99, 2000, okay, right, when the dot-com thing started. So it was still nascent for the IT industry. So I graduated in 96 and then not a lot of placements like you have today. There was a off-campus drive that happened in my hometown, which is Coimbatore. I just thought I'll attend it and then got placed into, it was called as Dun & Bradstreet Satyam Software then. So I got placed into that. And then it was, I didn't know how to, 23 years went after that.
So it's very rare, sir, like that long of a, like at least today.
Yeah, I think there's a huge generation gap. A lot of my friends who joined at the time, a lot of us stayed for over 20 and a half years, 25 years. A lot of them are still there, almost 30 years in Cognizant. It is rare today. The number of companies at that point in time were also fairly limited, but the kind of opportunities that we were offered were immense. Right? So I started out as a COBOL programmer. I don't know how many of you have heard of COBOL? No? Yes? Okay. So you might be surprised to know that a lot of financial enterprises still run on COBOL, mainframe and COBOL. They have not yet migrated to the new digital tech. Right? So there is still scope for me after retirement. Right? So that's where we started. So in terms of, I've seen how the industry has evolved over a period of time, right? So for example, when I joined, I had to go every Saturday to the bank to withdraw cash for my next week. Right? Salary was some $8,000 a month, right? And so withdraw like $2,000 for the week, right? Food and transport, etc. Right? I had to stand in line, fill the form, give it to them, and do it. Today, you don't have to do that. You don't know where even your branch or a bank is. Right? You do everything online. So that has been the transformation from then on, right? Then after that came the .com, where you had all the e-commerce kind of sites where you can go and buy stuff. Then the actual digital transformation happened, right? Where what I mean by digital transformation is, the businesses have becoming more digital. Right? Today, banks are digital. Right? It's no longer about being a bank, right? Everybody's become a technology company. They're not necessarily a bank. There's a lot of innovation, tech innovation happening in banks, for example. Right? A fraud transaction will take about 2 or 3 months to surface. Today it is a real-time AI application which runs, and any payments is online, or a real-time fraud is detected. That was not the case then. Then even today, if you look at manufacturing companies, like almost all the cars that you see on the road, they're all tech. It's no longer machines and stuff like that, right? So that's been a huge shift I've come across. The kind of opportunities, to your point, coming back to your point, what has helped is to be able to learn and be part of that growth personally, and from a technology as well, right? I think that has kept all of us going. So I've also done multiple roles, from being a developer, a team lead, project manager. I've been abroad to client locations, played the role of an account manager, sales, right? Come back, done delivery management in India, done solutioning roles. So the roles have also been very, very different and diverse. So that has been another motivation factor for me to continue to stay. And of course, being part of a very small organization, then when I joined, we were, I would say, about 600 to 700 people. Today it is, I think they have crossed more than 3.5 lakhs global headcount.
That's impressive. So
yeah, so the money also came with it. So we were given stock options, ESOPs, RSUs, all of restricted stock units, which is RSUs, right? So the money also came with it. There is also, it paid off, the loyalty paid off monetarily as well, apart from satisfying me from a technical and also what I do as a role.
That's great, sir. So many of us think that career growth is following a straight path, a stable path.
Mm-hmm.
But you took a bold turn, moving from a global corporation to a startup in AI. What made you believe that the risk was worth it? And how do you navigate the uncertainty?
The future is always uncertain, right? So to me, if I draw, if I give a metaphor, it's like, putting a Google map and going from place A to place B, right? You can go from A to B via many paths. So it's just one of them, right? So it's always uncertain, right? What you do, even in a large organization, suddenly there's a new deal, you get into a new role, you are asked to go to the US for a couple of years. So it's always uncertain. It's not, while as a youngster it might look very appealing when you go to the US and all, but once you establish here, it's very difficult to move and all those things. So it's uncertain. Specifically to your question, it was a difficult decision. I've been wanting to get into that journey much earlier in my career. Then what the heck, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it, right? The kind of learning has also been very immense, right? I also was settled financially otherwise, right? I mean, not that I made a lot of money like many of them, but fair enough for me to sustain. That was one major factor. And then the time was also right to start getting into solutions and services, because AI was becoming more accessible for small and medium enterprises as well, and even to common men, right, from what you are able to implement. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. So AI, data science, product thinking are buzzwords we hear all the time nowadays.
Okay.
But as students, we often feel disconnected from what we are studying in class. So what advice would you give to students?
So give me an example when you say disconnected. Can you be more specific?
So like
from your
times
experience?
we feel that what we are studying in class, we ask ourselves, where are we even going to use this? How would you, what would your advice be?
So look around. That's the first advice I have, right? You have exposure to so many things today. Look around. You have your phones. Do you know what AI is used in your phone, for example? I saw the stall for Amazon where all your packages come. What kind of AI goes into Amazon? Flipkart is going to start a big billion day sale soon, right? Diwali is coming, so they use a lot of AI. I have friends who work with the Flipkart, some Google architects, and all of them. They do an amazing job. So look around, right? Look at your banks, what kind of AI they use. They are buzzwords, and my recommendation to students, I interact with a lot of students and the academia. AI is becoming like table stakes. Everyone needs to know it and learn it. I'll give an example. Last year we were working with a startup which was based out of IIT Kharagpur, or trying to get incorporated from IIT Kharagpur. It was run by a Supreme Court lawyer, right? So they wanted to use LLMs and graph technology for law-based solutions, right? The gentleman I was talking to is probably like 65 plus at least. He was a lawyer in Supreme Court. He runs his own practice. He was talking so much tech in terms of LLM, and he kept saying every 2 minutes saying, I'm not a tech guy. Right? So that is the proliferation of AI today and data science. So the kind of thinking I want you guys to have is more from solutioning. I understand when you're in college, it's more about writing code and doing stuff, right? But when it comes to AI and data science, it is not about writing code. If someone comes and tells me I'm in AI because I like to write code, then this is not the place. You get into application development or somewhere else, right? So AI is more about solving problem. How do you make an impact, right? You go into a bank trying to say detect fraud and transactions. Fraud and transactions happen like 1 in billion, but how do you identify them? Right? It's not something like I get a pattern, I send marketing material. It's not like that. You have to it has to happen in real time. How do you detect it? Right? The cost of catching a non-fraudulent transaction as fraud is costlier than something which is not catching a fraud as fraud. So it is very important. A lot of healthcare professionals. So I was in we are very active part of NASSCOM AI chapter. So last year we attended a NASSCOM event. There was one session, I think it was for 2 hours specifically for medical professionals. There are a lot of hospitals invested. There are a lot of education institutes like IITs, NITs invested in building technology for genome sequencing, early identification of diseases, treatment patterns, all of those things, drug efficacy. Essentially what I'm saying is almost every industry people, right, specialized in their industry is learning data science and AI, how it can be applied in terms of imaging, discovering drugs, efficacy of drugs, all of that. So anybody today has to learn AI and how it can be used. You don't have to become an AI engineer, but look at how to use what kind of techniques in your own field of work.
Yes. Okay, sir. So in your career, you must have you've developed skills, right? So that aren't necessarily taught to you, right? Like in school or college. So what are some of those skills that you think make the biggest difference in like a professional scenario in your growth professionally?
One important skill is being very solid on your foundational fundamental skills, right? Most of you here are computer science graduates, right? So what I also see from the market is people are not very good from a foundation standpoint. Some of the courses that I recommend everybody to have a very solid foundation is one is any programming language. Today it is more of Python and stuff. Well, when we were studying, it was more C. Even C++ was not there. Data structures and algorithms. Spend a lot of time. Databases. Today, the world is producing so much of data, right? So, you know how many Instagram posts, YouTube posts are getting uploaded every minute, second. Kind of comments, reviews, articles are getting published. So So data is becoming very core. So building a very solid foundation on all of these, and depending on where your interest is, for example, looking at more of networking, cybersecurity, then more of Unix system fundamentals, networking. Those are different areas, right? Like I said, data science is going to be a given. If you are going to be someone who's developing models, building underlying systems, then math plus data science. But if you're an application programmer, data engineers, app developers, game developers, then any solid foundation on these 4 or 5 subjects is very core. And I see that a big problem today. Sorry, I know you wanted to go to your next question. Not necessarily with reference to VIT, but generally my interaction, I do a lot of campus interviews. I interact with a lot of other colleges as well. The quality of people in their any of these concepts, right, are very, very poor. They have a certification, they somehow clear it. The colleges push for a lot of courses and stuff. They do a lot of projects which they copy from Kaggle or online sources. But if you ask them to explain some very basic concepts, they are not able to explain. Or explain is one, but if I give a scenario and ask them to do it, they are not able to.
Okay. So fundamentals.
Fundamentals, yes. I mean, then it's a matter of building on top of it, right? Then new things keep coming,
Yes.
right? Then it's a matter of just how quickly can you pick it up, right?
Okay. Yes. So I want to touch on something we all struggle with, the idea that we need to have a plan. So did you ever feel like you had no idea what you were doing at some point in your career, and what helped you to keep moving on anyways?
The important thing, so it's a question of how do you measure success, right? I measure success just by how happy I am, right? India wins a match today, are they successful? I don't know. I mean, they were successful for the match, but over a longer period of time. Look at it longer term. How happy are you? Right? It can be your work, it can be your life outside work, college. What makes you happy? Right? That has been my measure of success. So, from what keeps me motivated is, am I learning? Right? If the learning stops, if I'm doing the same stuff over and over again, then it becomes very difficult. Now, the most important factor, which I tell again to a lot of youngsters, is: are you contributing? Are you adding value to whatever you are part of, whether you like it or not? Are you adding value? Are you learning? If you are not adding value, then you are always at a risk of losing it, either for yourself or the company loses trust on you. Right? It can be a fresher who goes, there has some role the person is expected to play. Are you playing that? Are you stepping beyond that? Even at 25 years or 30 years, I am expected to play a role in my organization. If I'm not being valuable, then there is no point having me. Those are primary 2 things. Then it's how you keep learning, reinventing, and applying the skills that you've learned.
So there is a pressure to pick the right path. So and even I personally am confused, do I go for higher studies or sit for placements, MBA or tech? So these kind of questions, how do we see this? How do we see through this?
See, there is never a right decision. There is always an option to make a decision right.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, there is no right or wrong decision. Only time will answer. But again, how can you make the decision work for you? You have joined VIT. You could have joined elsewhere. Was that a right decision or not? You can't change some of these things, right? Yes. But what do you do next? There is no. I can't prescribe saying you have to do masters today. I wouldn't prescribe doing a master's, especially in the US, for obvious reasons. I will not state it here. So India is now a great place to be. There's a lot of tech happening. It's a hotspot of technology. But I still think we are lagging and lacking a lot in terms of building for our own country today. When I compare it with smaller countries like Israel, they are very technically advanced, or larger companies like China. US is more or less all run by Indians. So there is no right or wrong decision. Make it work hard to make it work. To your point, identify what your strengths are. If you are good technically coding, go for it, right? And it's not like you're going to do it for the rest of your life. Otherwise, I've been still doing COBOL programming. It's not bad either, right? I know I had a lot of my US colleagues in the US. 30 years, they were doing the same role and they were happy about it. They have their family, their life. If you're good at business or entrepreneurship, pick it. There's nothing right or wrong about it. Just put in that effort with more than 100% and make it work.
Okay. So what would your advice be to the audience today if they're unsure of the career path or this? So what would you just advise them?
Pick something and go. If there are 3 routes to go from here, Vellore to Chennai, you have to take one, right? There is no right or wrong. What you want to do in life keeps changing, right? I never thought I would stay in the organization for even 2 years, but I stayed on for 23 years. I never thought I'll run my own organization. Today I'm running it. I have about 50-60 people working. I'm trying to help them create wealth for themselves, like how Cognizant or the other companies helped us. So that's where we are, right? So there's no right or wrong decision.
Now going back to the time when you were in VTech, in our place.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't roam around. Yeah, things were very different. So I know it will be. I know I'll sound like a boomer uncle. The labs. I mean, we had one lab in my college. We had probably 10 computers for the entire college. Any guesses on the RAM? 2 what? 2 GB. 8 MB. Hard disk was 640 MB. Right? You can't even imagine taking a photograph of 64 MB or So, and resources were very hard to come by. Right? So it was very difficult for us to learn. Right? So we never had. All we had were whatever books that were there in the library, and going through that, right? I was a member of ISTE then as well, right? And the library used to have a collection of ISTE journals, right? The final project, we were asked to go through the journals, pick a project, go to your prof, and then get his advice whether it's doable or not. Right? So advice is, I don't have an advice, but I think I chose a correct decision because IT or computer science was a very, it was there, but it was not as popular. I had a lot of pressure from my family to choose mechanical engineering then, which I did not want to. I made a good decision in that and sticking on with it. And today, if you look at it, right, to some of the questions you were asking earlier, a lot of people I am interacting with today. We have a partner organization. He runs a very large data privacy, or he has a very data privacy product, right? He's a chartered accountant by education and few years of practice. Today, he's CEO of a multi-million-dollar organization. So there is nothing stopping you from building a tech organization. And again, he speaks like a tech and he keeps saying, I'm not a techie.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so I don't have any advice for myself. I'm happy I chose the right decision, stuck on with it, put in the effort.
That's great, sir. That's very good. Okay, sir. So now we'll move on to a fun segment.
Yeah.
We have a rapid fire round.
Okay.
So you have to answer the question as fast as you can. Okay. First question. What's one tech gadget you absolutely love and that isn't your phone?
A camera.
Okay. What's a piece of software or an app that you think is a totally hidden gem?
The new tech cursor, probably. I'm still trying to get a hang of it, but
What's the one tech trend you're most excited about for the next 5 years?
agentic AI.
Agent AI. Okay. If you could have a tech-related superpower, what would it be?
Ability to fly. I don't know if this is tech superpower.
Okay, sir.
Ability to say click pictures with my eyes.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. Okay. I would want that also. Okay, so where do you go to escape from technology and just recharge?
Probably I gave the clues. I do bird photography. Um, I escape very often. Last weekend I was in Kerala doing bird photography there. The reason I said camera is because kind of AI that is coming into your chips on the, right? For example, I don't know how many of you are photographers. So if you're taking pictures of birds, there is a very small dot which tracks the eye of your bird. Even if it moves, it captures the picture. Right? You don't. It's not blurred or shaken. Right? It still captures, which is the last 2 years the technology is changing really fast there. So that is one. I do a lot of fitness and stuff.
That's great, sir. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time to speak with us today. It's easy to get caught up in the outcomes, but listening to you reminded us that it's the process, the perseverance, and the purpose that truly defines success. So, and that's the kind of perspective we hope our listeners carry forward today. To everyone tuning in, thank you for listening. We hope you leave this episode a little more curious, a little more motivated, and a lot more open to exploring new perspectives. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and keep asking the questions that matter. I'm your host, Suhani, signing off. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.